hadn't realized that she was missing or hadn't been worried about the fact that he hadn't heard from her for over a week. Patrick decides to take matters into his own hands and does the deed on Thanksgiving Day of 2018. Okay guys, this is it. After this week, we can start listening to Christmas music. But until then, I don't want to hear any of it. I don't. Okay? Cool. Hey guys, welcome back, or if you are new, welcome to my channel. My name is Courtney, and I'm here to give you the creeps. If you're into true horror, I highly suggest that you hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell so you're notified every single time that I upload, because I get on here every single week and tell you guys another true and scary story. And today's video is an unresolved mystery Thanksgiving spectacular. Ooh, ah. Sorry, that was really weird. So today I actually wanted to talk about the mysterious case of Kelsey Berreth and the probable Thanksgiving Day murder of her and her unborn child. I know, it's gonna be rough. I'm sorry. That being said, guys, with this subject matter, I did just want to give an extra trigger warning just because I feel like this case is so messed up for lots of different reasons, and I just want you guys to be prepared. It's bad, okay? That being said, if you'd rather take a pass on this week's video, definitely go ahead and go up to the cards up here and check out the rest of the Unresolved Mystery playlist. I definitely will have something that you'll want to check out. This one just has to do with, Thanksgiving murders, and I just feel like that's a lot. So with that in mind, guys, let's go ahead and jump into today's video. So our story begins on Thanksgiving Day in 2018. We're actually at a Safeway in Woodland Park, Colorado, where Kelsey Berreth is finishing up some last-minute Thanksgiving Day shopping for that afternoon's meal. With her, she has her 14-month-old daughter, Kaylee, who she is carrying in one of those little, baby case things. I don't know anything about children, but that little carrier. That thing. As she's leaving the store, she actually ends up calling her fiance Patrick Frazee, who she talks with for a few minutes while she's driving to Walmart in a nearby area. Just before 1 p.m. that afternoon, surveillance cameras at that Walmart capture Kelsey Berreth walking into the Walmart with Kaylee in her arms. Then, a short while later, the pair is seen exiting the store. She puts Kaylee into her car and the pair of them drive away. No problem at all, right? Well, if I understood correctly from my research, Kelsey and Patrick were having a bit of a rough patch in their relationship. And by that, I mean a pretty bad breakup, okay? For that reason, when Kelsey gets back to her apartment building, she ends up meeting Patrick outside of the building itself to exchange some belongings and then exchange custody of their daughter because they had broken up. Therefore, they want to, exchange their stuff back and, never talk to each other again, okay? Now, reportedly, among the items that Patrick returned to Kelsey that afternoon was a handgun as well as a set of keys, along with some other little tidbits here and there that were personal items to her. Then he got back in his car with his daughter and never saw Kelsey again, or did he? Now on the surface, guys, it seemed that Kelsey and Patrick remained in contact with one another for a few days after this final interaction that Patrick claimed they had. In fact, on November 24th, just 48 hours after this final interaction, the pair exchanged a text message at 7:45 a.m., and then a little later on, just before 4 o'clock that afternoon, they exchanged a phone call. What was that in regards to? Don't know, but they were in contact. Okay. Then on December 2nd, over a week after these text messages and calls were exchanged between the pair, Kelsey's mother, after not hearing from Kelsey for a decent amount of time, decides to report her as missing to the police. And from there, an investigation was launched to figure out where she went and what happened to her, because she just randomly disappeared, And what investigators found so weird about this whole situation was the fact that Patrick, her fiance, and at the very least co-parent of their daughter, hadn't realized that she was missing or hadn't been worried about the fact that he hadn't heard from her for over a week. So with that in mind, investigators started to do some digging, and what they found was interesting, okay? Now remember what I said about Patrick not seeing Kelsey since Thanksgiving Day in 2018, right? Well, apparently, at some point following that afternoon, 2 cell phone towers collected a ping from both Patrick and Kelsey's cell phone on 2 separate occasions, which of course meant that the pair, or at least the pair's cell phones, were traveling together in the wilderness of Colorado. Right. Shady. Now, I forgot to mention this when I was recording the video, and I just wanted to take a second and add some clarity to this section of the story. So Kelsey's phone was actually last pinged on November 25th of 2018 in an area called Gooding, Idaho, which, as you can tell from the graphic on the screen, is over 12 hours away from where she was last seen in Woodland Park. So at this point in the timeline, guys, investigators decide to continue digging through Patrick Frazee's phone records, because in their minds, they think that they can get a better idea of what happened to him on the day of Kelsey Berreth's disappearance, as well as the days following. Like, what were you doing, bro? Because something is not adding up here, right? And in doing that, investigators found something else. Now, apparently, on November 24th of 2018, Patrick Frazee was also exchanging text and calls with a woman named Crystal Lee Kenny. Like, a lot of text and calls with a woman named Crystal Lee Kenny. So investigators take note of all of these calls and text messages being exchanged between these two phone numbers. And they were like, okay, who are you and what do you have to do with the disappearance of Kelsey Berreth? Because obviously some shit went down here. Sorry. So investigators start to dig into the name Crystal Lee Kenny, and what they find is even more interesting, okay? So apparently, for years leading up to this situation, Patrick Frazee was in an on-again, off-again relationship with Crystal Lee Kenny, which was obviously troublesome for Kelsey and Patrick's relationship, especially when Patrick found out that Kelsey had become pregnant in the fall of 2018. And as it just so happens, as investigators soon found out, this Crystal girl had a very, striking involvement with the disappearance of Kelsey Berreth. So according to Crystal's confession with the investigators, apparently, I was about to call him Chris Watts. Honestly, they may as well just be the same guy at this point. Patrick had started hinting to Crystal in September of 2017 that he wanted to remove Kelsey from the situation. This is absolutely shameful. And apparently, in between September of 2017 and November 22nd of 2018, Patrick had enlisted Crystal's help on 3 separate occasions to do his dirty work for him. And of these attempts, Patrick had asked Crystal to either drug Kelsey's coffee or beat her with a metal pipe. Really? Really, dude? Just break up. I don't understand people. I really don't. However, after these attempts had failed, his words, not mine, Patrick decides to take matters into his own hands and does the deed on Thanksgiving Day of 2018. Shameful. Now that being said, guys, Crystal Lee Kenny isn't out of this scot-free. No, she is not. Because on November 24th of 2018, on that day when they were continuously calling and texting one another frantically, Patrick has Crystal come over to Kelsey's house and clean up his mess for him. Like, literally. So according to Crystal's confession, she showed up at Kelsey's apartment with her own cleaning supplies along with a hairnet and shoe coverings, and cleaned that apartment from top to bottom. And as Crystal claimed, she was too terrified to deny Patrick's request because of how things unfolded for Kelsey and their unborn child. So for that reason, Crystal went through Kelsey's entire home and destroyed a bunch of evidence, while Patrick, allegedly, took Kelsey's body to dispose of it. This is rough. I'm so sorry. That being said, guys, Crystal does end up admitting to investigators that she left some smaller pieces of evidence in Kelsey's apartment in the hope that they would be able to find that evidence and then pin Patrick as well as herself to this murder. I'm not saying it fixes everything. I'm just saying good for you, I guess. And among this Easter egg style evidence were 2 bloodstains, one on the fireplace and one on the baby gate, which to me is a little bit nasty, but okay. Now, if I understood correctly from my research, investigators were eventually able to find those bloodstains, which further corroborated her story and then ended up leading to the arrest of Patrick Frazee as well as Crystal Lee Kenny. Now, just as a quick aside, I did just want to say that there are a lot of conflicting opinions on Crystal's involvement with this case. Some individuals believe that she should receive every bit of punishment that Patrick Frazee is receiving for this crime, seeing how she attempted murder thrice. Great word, honestly. Let's bring it back. Along with the fact that she had actually tampered with evidence after the crime itself had taken place. Like, that's a lot of felonies, right? But on the other hand, people are saying that they can't really blame Crystal for her involvement with this case because they feel like they would have been just as terrified if they were put into her position. I mean, think about it. She watched the entirety of this thing unfold in front of her, knowing full well that if she didn't do whatever Patrick said, she might end up in the same position. That's enough to make me want to cry. I don't know, I'm not really sure how I feel about her involvement at all with this case, but if you guys have any comments, concerns, or theories about it, definitely leave that down in the comments below because I'm at a loss on that one, if I'm being honest. That said, guys, in November of 2019, just shy of the 1-year anniversary of Kelsey's disappearance and murder, Crystal Lee Kenny ended up testifying as the key witness in the trial against Patrick Frazee, who had been charged for 2 counts of first-degree murder for Kelsey Berreth and their unborn child. I know. You're a terrible person. And it was because of Crystal's testimony that Patrick ended up getting sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Snaps to that, okay? For her testimony, Crystal ended up striking a plea deal and ended up only getting sentenced to 3 years in prison for evidence tampering along with some other lesser charges. And she'll actually be eligible for parole this upcoming May. I know. Wild. What do you guys think of that? Let me know. My tummy just made a weird noise. Now that being said, guys, at least by my definition of it, this case still remains unresolved. This is due to the fact that investigators have yet to find the remains of Kelsey Berreth. I will say that throughout my research, I saw a couple different claims here and there of where her body possibly could have ended up. The most recent of which is the claim that Kelsey's remains could have possibly been dumped in a landfill just outside of Denver, Colorado. However, after a thorough search of the area in April 2019, investigators ended up calling off the search because they weren't able to find any sort of indication that that claim was true, which is even more frustrating than not being able to find the body to begin with. Now that being said, guys, I think that's pretty much all the information that I have for you in regards to this case, which means that we are at the end of our video. I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving, make good choices, and stay safe because apparently that's the deadliest holiday of the year, which is really messed up when you think about it. Like, why are holidays deadly? I just don't understand. Anyways, if you made it all the way here to the end and liked what you saw, make sure you give me a big thumbs up. It really helps out my channel. Also, leave a comment down below letting me know what your favorite Thanksgiving food is. Mine is mashed potatoes because I literally could eat like the entirety of the bowl of mashed potatoes. I know it's basic AF, but they're just like my life. Also, if you're feeling generous, make sure you share this video on different social media platforms. It really does help my channel reach as many people as possible. And I've said it week after week, but I really, really do appreciate your support in that way. Also, I feel like I should say this because I keep forgetting in every single one of my videos. Thank you so much for 250, 275, or possibly even close to 300 at this point. I feel like every time I sit down to film a video, I say one number that we hit subscriber-wise, and then by the time that I'm actually about to post it, we've already breached that point, so I end up taking it out. And I just want to take a second to thank you guys for all of your love and support, just subscribing and sharing my videos, because it really does make me feel like you guys like to hear from me, and that's all I really want from this, to entertain you guys and to be friends here on the internet. So thank you so much for that, and yeah. I've been rambling for a really long time. So finally, guys, thanks so much for watching. My name is Courtney, and I run a true horror channel here on YouTube. I like to create content every single week surrounding anything that's scary, creepy, or spooky, so if that's something you're interested in seeing more of, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell so you're notified every single time that I upload. And with that said, I'll see you all next week for another new video. Bye!